This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
To you once again, and thank you so much for being with us here on UBC TV. Now, welcome to the hour of 9 a.m. It is exactly 6 minutes past the top of the hour, and this brings us into Good Morning Uganda Extra. I'm Robert Curable in case you've just joined. Thank you for keeping it on the big network. Today, we are going to be focusing on health, and specifically on two diseases that have been around for a very long time in Uganda, but of course we've made strides in fighting these diseases, and that is leprosy and tuberculosis. While later on we shall also be discussing the 4th annual National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Stakeholders Conference that is going to be held. And with me in studios to discuss this are experts from the Ministry of Health. I have Dr. Byaruhanga Raymond, who happens to be the Senior Technical Advisor, Ministry of Health. Doctor, you're most welcome to our studios this morning.
Thank you very much, Chirabo, and thank you very much, viewers, for hosting us this morning on the 9 o'clock UBC. Thank you.
And of course, it gives me maximum joy because there's gender balance on this set. And with me is Dr. That is Stevia. That is Stevia Tuyahabwe. Well, I'm very sensitive when it comes to mentioning people's names. Doctor, you're most welcome to our studios this morning.
Thank you so much, Chilamo. Good morning, our viewers. We're happy to be here this morning.
Dr. Stevia, let me begin with you. When we talk about tuberculosis and leprosy, these are diseases, I think, that have been here even older than I am. Because I remember I got that, I had to get it. We are those that managed to benefit from mass vaccination of such diseases. And at times, I think it was among the 6 killer diseases in school. It was the 6 killer diseases. They were examinable. I don't know if they're still examinable.
They are.
And if you could fail, you would carry a stroke of the cane. But briefly, when we talk about tuberculosis, to draw more awareness and our viewers to understand what we're talking about, what are we referring to? What kind of disease is this?
Thank you, Chirabo. Tuberculosis, what kind of disease is it? Tuberculosis is an infectious disease that is caused by a germ, bacteria for that matter. It mainly affects the lungs, and when you have it, you will cough most of the time if it has affected your lungs. You will have a fever, you will have ill health in the evening, you will not feel okay, you will feel like you are sick, or you may lose weight. And if you have a child and the child also has TB, the child will not grow well, will not put on weight as expected for the age that they have. And also have pain in your chest because the lungs have been affected. Now, how do you get the disease? You get the disease when someone who has the disease coughs, laughs, or is talking like I'm talking, and they do not have a covering like I have on my nose and mouth. The air that I breathe out when I cough, when I talk, will have the germ that causes TB. And my neighbor, like you, like him, will breathe in this air and they will get infected. Just the same way we get infected by the coronavirus.
So it's a respiratory disease.
Through the air. Yes, it's a respiratory disease.
Well, how big is this problem in our country, the gravity of TB, commonly known as TB, to Uganda?
Uganda is one of the high-burdened countries in the world with tuberculosis. And we are classified among the 30 high burden, and we are under the watch list by the world. Our incidence, although reduced, but it has not reduced significantly, from 200 to 196 per 100,000 population, which translates to about 90,000 Ugandans falling ill with TB every year. That is a significant number. for a disease that is transmitted from one person to another through the air. You see how we are worried about COVID-19 because of its infectiousness in terms of moving from one person to the other through the air. So the same way we need to be worried about that big burden of TB. 90,000 people falling ill with TB is a big number.
That is annually?
Annually, yes.
Indeed, a very big number.
And the disease actually kills Ugandans. That is the other big burden that we have. And it is estimated that about 30 people die from this disease every day.
Every day? COVID has not killed 30 people every day?
It has not, and it may not.
That's shocking details there. Dr. Raymond, let's look at leprosy. Being in Sunday school, it is one of the diseases that I learned about in Bible stories. But the reality is I've been able to see lepers even in this country. And most of the times I've always asked myself, what causes this disease? What is it all about, apart from the physical appearance that you see that has caused to someone's body? More light on this so that our viewer can understand that combination of the two diseases we are going to be discussing.
Thank you very much, Chirabo. Leprosy is a disease that is also caused by a germ, a bacteria, as the Dr. Stavia has also said, that is similar to the tuberculosis germ. The other one, leprosy, is caused by a germ, a bacteria called Mycobacterium leprae, which is similar to the TB germ, which is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So you can see the two are almost sisters or brothers. And that's why partly they are also within the same unit in the Ministry of Health. Leprosy is a disease that affects majorly the nerves. But it gets into your system like almost the same way, like not necessarily like TB through coughing, but you can get it and it affects the skin at the beginning. So you will get some lesions on the skin, which you might take lightly, but actually might lead to leprosy. And once it affects the nerves, then it starts eating those nerves slowly by slowly, and then you eventually cannot feel. And for that, we, as a country, we still have leprosy. We are still seeing leprosy cases in West Nile. We are seeing leprosy cases in Busoga. We are seeing leprosy cases. We've also started again seeing leprosy cases in Western Uganda. So it's a disease that is on elimination phase, but we cannot comfortably get out of the
declare a free country.
Yes, a free country, and that's why we are still out there to talk more about it. Medication is there. We can diagnose it early, and once diagnosed early, we can really see that the patients will improve and get better. Yeah.
Dr. Stavia, going back to tuberculosis, what is being done? Because a person like me would wonder that some of these diseases, maybe not being viral, at such a time, it's been there for a long time. Maybe we would have declared it. One time we declared Uganda free of polio. Maybe we would at this time having declared tuberculosis and no a country free of tuberculosis. What is being done so far to ensure that the 30 a day, the 90,000 a year, we can maybe come to zero cases registered in the country?
What is being done? Maybe just before I go to what is being done, just a little bit more on the leprosy. Once you lose sensation, like he has said, you see your fingers, you get damages on the fingers and you start losing fingers.
Some look half lepers.
Yes, even the whole hand can go.
Yes.
The feet also. So leprosy is one of the diseases that is causing us a lot of burden of disability as a country, and we need to get to the zero status. We eliminated it as a public health problem, but we need to get to zero status in terms of people getting the disease.
Maybe still on leprosy. How does one acquire it? Because tuberculosis, you know, that's more of respiratory here, but here.
It's actually the same way.
Oh.
Yes. Also, leprosy, you get it through the air. Yes. But there are some rare cases where you get it through other ways also. But the main transmission is through the air. The bad thing is that it takes a long time to manifest. So if you have ever had a leprosy person in your house, it is important that you continue observing yourself. It can be up to 5 years before you show symptoms of leprosy. So you need to keep watching, and most of the time what comes first are the patches you talked about. On the skin, you see a light, which is lighter than your skin. If you are black, you see something maybe brownish appearing on your skin. Get worried and reach out to the health workers. You'll be supported. The good news is that both tuberculosis and leprosy are curable diseases. So you can get treatment and get rid of the disease right away. So what has been done to reduce the burden of tuberculosis? Like I said at the beginning in the situation, we have reduced the incidence, at least in the current status, by 2.7%. And how have we managed to do this? We have prioritized a number of interventions, and is also the reason we are here today. The first intervention that we want to promote is awareness creation. People have tuberculosis, people have leprosy, but they don't know that they have these diseases.
Many, most with leprosy, I remember I visited a family, but by God's grace, 5 years have passed. So I hope I'm safe because I didn't have anything to any protection. I was ignorant, by the way. So we're doing reach out.
Yeah, you can visit the person.
Preach to families. And here they tell us that this family, someone sent a curse upon them. You know, they need to be prayed for. When I reached and understood this was leprosy. Told them, well, it is not a curse. It is not witchcraft. Those stories you're talking about, a brother impregnated a sister, so it's a curse upon them. You have to seek medical attention.
That is what most of the people who get affected go through, especially for leprosy. Because you see someone is losing hands, someone is losing their feet, toes. They are swelling. Some leprosy presents with swellings all over the body, small swellings. So people get worried and they think this is a curse or they have been bewitched. So they go around the whole community, they visit different regions seeking for help for the condition, but they never get
as they transmit.
Definitely the disease to the people they meet. So we are prioritizing awareness creation. And for leprosy, because it has been eliminated as a public health problem, even in the health system, the health workers are not very keen in identifying it as quickly as possible. So even this person may visit many health facilities before they are finally identified as having leprosy. So we are creating awareness for the public, but also building capacity, again, to make sure that health workers can diagnose leprosy. We are prioritizing prevention. They say prevention is better than cure. Now, because the diseases are transmitted through the air, you find that if you have TB in your house or leprosy, a good number of the people you were staying with before we knew that you had TB also breathed the germ. They got infected. And at one time in their lifetime, they may develop the disease. So we are prioritizing reaching these people and stopping them from progressing from the point of infection to going into disease. There is a treatment that we provide for that. And we are saying that if you have someone with TB in your house, we come assess you, all the people that are there. It may not be housed, it may be at school, it may be at the workplace. We assess the people you've been staying with before the diagnosis. We identify those who have already progressed to disease, put them in the treatment category, and identify those that don't have disease and give them prevention. For each patient, we are targeting at least 3 people to be given preventive therapy. That is intervention number 2 that we are prioritizing. Intervention number 3, and which has been around for a long time, is to diagnose those with disease at our health facilities. Most of the time, we've been waiting for the people to report, I'm coughing. But now we are telling our health facilities, whoever visits the health facility, ask them. Let it be the health worker to ask, do you have cough? Do you have fever? Not all fever is malaria. Not all fever is COVID. Not all fever is because someone has other infection. It could be TB. Ask and rule out tuberculosis from everyone who is visiting the health facility. And then collect samples, because the diagnostic facilities are available at almost all health facilities apart from the lowest level. And test if they have TB. Treatment is also available. Initiate treatment. The treatment is free of charge, the diagnosis is free of charge, and it is available in every sub-county in this country.
Wow.
We are also saying that because these diseases take time, they don't make you fall ill very quickly. You may have symptoms and you still can be able to go to the shore and get some fish on the lake. You can have symptoms and still drive the bus from Guru to Kampala. You can have, because they are as you transmit to the people that you are with, definitely. So we are saying we want also to reach those that may not be coming quickly to the health facilities. Diagnose them early and start them on treatment. That way we'll reduce the deaths that we have talked about of 30 people dying per day, but also reduce the number of new infections in the country. And once we have made the diagnosis, treatment must be taken to the full course, which takes 6 months.
Continuity.
Yes. If you don't complete the treatment,
uninterrupted,
the disease will not get cured, unfortunately. I said the diseases are curable, but you must complete treatment. You start treatment within 2 weeks, within a week or 2 days, you feel
Yes, signs are gone.
the signs are reducing, you feel more comfortable, you can eat more food than you are eating. Some people get tempted and they want to stop the treatment. Don't stop the treatment. Continue daily treatment until you complete the course of 6 months.
Very interesting, and the hope is that the treatment is available.
Yeah.
Yes.
The treatment is free of charge.
Yes.
All you need to do is ensure you get this treatment, but also the other factor that is usually a problem in Uganda is people completing treatment.
Yeah.
Recently, I was speaking to some experts, that is towards World AIDS Day, and many were telling me continuity. People do not take this treatment to the end.
Yeah.
A person fails to take their treatment, they'll take skip, they feel better. When the CD4 goes down, then they will get back. I now where am I? Drugs and all this. But Dr. Raymond, I love the bit of sensitization, creating awareness that this is now what we are moving forward. These diseases, they have particular areas. For example, leprosy. When I move, and I know this is a fact, many Ugandans have seen this, I think we have a number of lepers on Kampala streets. Isn't that true?
They might
Because I
be
think the symptoms you've been talking about, how we grew up seeing a number of women, but and men seem to be coming from particular regions. Where is this connection between, why is it maybe not so much in central, why do you have it in northern Uganda? More light on this.
Okay, thank you very much. Just before I come to that, I just also want to add more to the burden of TB. This month, we started with World AIDS Day on the 1st. So many of us, we call this month the World AIDS Month. And during one of the speeches the minister made, she alluded to the fact that on average, there are 30,000 HIV new infections a year in Uganda. And we thank the efforts that all partners, government, and His Excellency has led in terms of fighting the HIV/AIDS epidemic for the last many years, to the extent that now we have 30,000. We used to have almost 200,000 new infections a year in this country. TB has 90,000 new infections a year. So you can see where the burden is.
And also just now that I have the expert,
Yes.
I stand to be corrected, but this is my observation. I've seen many people with HIV/AIDS having TB. Is there a connection?
That is now where the question that you asked me earlier. Where is now the TB? Where is the leprosy? So you can see that as patients of HIV continue to decrease in number of new infections, you mentioned the issue of they take their medication, stop their medication, take their medication. So as they take their medication and stop their medication, eventually that's how TB now crops into them. Because TB is known to all, everybody has the germ. But when you hear someone with the disease, that means that actually now the signs and symptoms are beginning to manifest. And they tend to manifest when, for example, your immune system goes down. That's why you'll find that those that are HIV positive, they have been on their medication, they are doing well, they will not get HIV, they will not get TB. But should their immune system drop, then the manifestation of TB comes up. And this is where we are looking at one of the areas that we are looking at among those that are infected with the HIV. We need to focus on those that are getting tuberculosis. The others are the diabetics. We have diabetics. We have prisoners, prison inmates that are at high risk of getting tuberculosis. For leprosy, as we've mentioned that it is now very highly prevalent in some districts around the country, about I think 8 districts now, or but it's on the increase.
Yeah, majority of the cases we get notified from the West Nile districts,
yeah.
And we think that there might be a connection, because although Uganda is low burden, we have Democratic Republic of Congo, which is high burden. We have South Sudan, which is also high burden. So we think there might be a connection with the West Nile as far as the many numbers of leprosy are concerned. But we also see leprosy in other districts in the country, even here in the central region, in Kasese, in, like I said, Western Uganda. We have started seeing some cases also there, which means leprosy is still here. Yes.
Well, viewers, just to remind you that you can also be part of the topic of discussion this morning as we handle tuberculosis and leprosy. And of course, later on we'll be discussing that's the 4th annual conference on tuberculosis and leprosy that is going to be held. But for now, you can be part of this by simply going to our social media platforms and send us a question or any concern on the topic of discussion. And the number, if you're to use our WhatsApp, or send us an SMS on 070960 2592. The number is 070960 2592. And I'll be reading out these questions to the experts I have in studios this morning, specifically on tuberculosis and leprosy, because it's what we are discussing this morning. So questions regarding that are welcome, and you'll be getting your response. But now allow me to go for a short commercial break, and when we return, we'll be discussing more regarding these two diseases and how best we can ensure that at a certain time T, maybe you can declare Uganda free of tuberculosis, free of leprosy, but even those that acquire this get treatment, because both these diseases are curable and the treatment is available and free of charge. We'll return.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend services. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
Transact and win money after money with Airtel Money. 1.5 billion shillings in cash prizes up for grabs. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that short commercial break, and thank you so much for keeping it with us here on UBC TV. It is Good Morning Uganda Extra, and this morning we are looking at tuberculosis, that is TB, and leprosy. How best can we ensure that we create awareness? People know that these are curable and they understand that these are diseases. It's got nothing to do with a curse. And I don't know, most of the times I ask myself, what happens with the Africans? Many diseases, many problems. Even before you go any further, first is a curse, it is witchcraft. But anyway, science has no space for that, no place for that. And I believe that doctors here will tell you.
That's true. That's true.
There's no way. One time a friend of mine went to police and reported a case of witchcraft. And police told him, scientifically, you have no proof to this. And you don't have experts in the force that handle this. So also scientifically, the doctors have no space for your issues of witchcraft and all that. So these are diseases we must embrace and get treatment as soon as possible. The earlier the better. But also one thing I've learned is treatment must be continuous. You do not have to mess or interrupt that treatment. But also from the discussion so far, I've learned, by the way, Ugandans, there are many reasons why you should wear a mask.
Yes.
Away from COVID, there's leprosy, there's tuberculosis. Okay. Well, let's go back to the topic of discussion this morning, Dr. Raymond and Stevia. We've talked about more so now created awareness, and we believe people know what diseases these are, and then the treatment is available. But usually we are now, I see you're preparing now, and this is going to be the fourth.
Yes.
That is annual conference on tuberculosis and leprosy for stakeholders. Let's talk about this. Begin with Dr. Raymond.
Okay, thank you very much. We hold, as a Ministry of Health, we hold annually a National TB Stakeholder Conference. First and foremost, we want to be accountable to Ugandans. We want to be accountable to our stakeholders. We want to be accountable to our partners. So this conference is about what have we done? What can we do better? We have a number of stakeholders. We have a number of partners. Ugandans themselves are part of this whole problem that we really need to resolve together as one. And that's why we always dub it the National TB Stakeholder Conference. So during this conference is where we present what we've done in the last year. We present like a financial or an accountability report and say, for the last year, we were able to do this, but we had these challenges. We were able to do this, but we had these successes. And going forward in the next year, what do we want to do so that we can be accountable at the end of next year in terms of what we have been able to do? So that's the purpose of the conference. And this conference comes at a time when we are in our second year of COVID-19. And we want to really let the stakeholders know, despite COVID-19, what have we been able to do? With COVID-19 there, what weren't we able to do? And what can we be able to do? Because COVID is there to stay. So what can we do even with COVID-19 staying there? If the lockdowns continue, if students don't go back to school, if medicines don't come into the country, what are we going to do? So this is the main reason why we want to hold this, to be able to inform the stakeholders. The other very important thing that we want to put forward or portray during the conference, among this, we have a number of stakeholders. Maybe some have not been engaged. We're engaging them for the first time. For example, the private sector, the communities that we want to go to, create awareness, increase screening. So the purpose of this conference is we want to get more stakeholders on board. And I think that is part of the reason why we want to hold this 4th National Stakeholders Conference.
Doctor, talking about the Stakeholders Conference, who are the participants? Because we know many people given this information. Apart from accountability, we of course know that there's so much knowledge that can be collected from such. So who are the stakeholders here? Who are the people that are going to be part of this conference during the time of COVID-19? Numbers are restricted. Is there any thought of where the rest of the public maybe could be part of this, either by social media? We have a number of platforms that now we can use. So how is this going to be running?
Yeah, thank you for that. Who are the stakeholders that we are talking about, or participants? But maybe before I go there, I said our first and high-level intervention is creating awareness. Other than accountability that he talked about, we hope that this conference will also create awareness about a number of things on TB and leprosy to our stakeholders. The stakeholders are vast, the whole of Uganda. We are looking at addressing tuberculosis in a multi-sectoral response approach. The way we are dealing with COVID. No one should be left behind. Everyone should be knowledgeable about TB and leprosy if we have to end the 2 diseases by 2030. So on top of really looking at what we've been able to do as a country, we also hope to sensitize the public about the 2 diseases. We have not done enough as far as creating awareness is concerned. Ugandans are not aware. I'll tell you that it's only about 50% of Ugandans who know the signs and symptoms of TB. And a smaller number, actually now people ask us, do we still have leprosy? It means a very small number now knows about leprosy. So we need to really create awareness, and any opportunity is a golden opportunity for us. We are looking for support for this cause to create awareness about the 2 diseases. And this is an opportunity at the conference. Now, going to the participants, we expect that we'll have over 500 people participating in this conference, both Ugandans and from abroad, including speakers. So we have speakers from around the country, but we also have speakers from the rest of the world to share experiences on how to address the TB issues. Now, the participation, because we have COVID-19, is going to be both physical and virtual. we have learned in the COVID-19 era that we can transact business on virtual platforms. So the conference will be available on social media handles for the Ministry of Health. It will be available on UBC. It will also be available on Zoom for those who can access and use Zoom on your smartphones, on your computers. The IDs will be displayed and you can join the conference. The physical attendees have been specifically selected, and these are people who have specific roles during the conference transactions, either presentations or taking notes or keynote, or especially for our district participants, we have specifically looked at those who have made a difference during the year. They have done quite well, and we hope they will be able to join us in the conference for us to celebrate the achievements together with them.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, now let me look at some of the messages that are coming in from our viewers. And first, I want to thank you so much for your feedback, being part of this topic of discussion. Like I told you earlier, you can send us an SMS message or go to our WhatsApp number, which is 070960 2592, 070960 2592, and we'll be reading them out. Well, very interesting question here. One says, good morning, Uganda. Is it true that you can get TB without AIDS and get cured completely? Thank you, I'm Agnes from Barara.
Yeah.
One says, good morning, UBC. I'm Michael Okwiro. For us in Soroti, he said, this is another, okay. What is leprosy? Can you explain more about it? That is still Michael Okwiro from Soroti asking. Yes, more explanation on leprosy. Let's first handle those two. And I think Dr. Raymond, you'll handle leprosy, then the issue of tuberculosis. I'll leave you to Dr. Stevia.
Okay. Thank you, Agnes from Barara. Is it true that you can get TB without HIV and you get cured completely? Yes. You can get TB without HIV. Now, in Uganda, the current burden of HIV, like we had, has dropped. And the same also happens to those that have TB and HIV together. We have moved from over 60% in around 2015-14. We are now at about 39-40% of people who have both TB and HIV together. Now, that means if we have 90,000 Ugandans falling ill with TB every year, that the majority of the people actually don't have HIV. So having TB doesn't mean that someone has HIV. The majority of the patients don't have HIV.
Because someone once told me, no, he has gone and they have tested, he has TB automatically.
That's the stigma. That's the stigma that we are really trying to curtail. Because there are many people who want to think that by diverging my information about my TB status, I have diverged my information about my HIV status, which is very wrong. Yeah.
Then he says, can it be cured? Please also, Agnes, needs that assurance.
Yes, TB is a curable disease. If you get diagnosed early, first of all, you take your medication correctly, and for the duration that is supposed to be taken, your TB will get cured. And the good news is that along the treatment, we keep checking to see how much of the burden of TB in your body is still there. So at 2 months, at 4 months, and at the end of treatment, we try to see, do you still have the germs in the body, or they have reduced significantly, or they are finished. So you get cured of the disease, whether you have HIV or you don't have HIV. Now, there are some of our people who develop TB that is resistant to the common drugs that we use. This TB is also available. And what led us there was the big number of people who are not going through the treatment properly. You are found with TB, they give you treatment, along the way you don't complete the treatment. The disease, the germ has tested the drug. it also has to survive. So it looks for a way of staying in your body. So it becomes resistant to the drugs it has tested. So we have those people also with us, and but also that TB is curable. The transmission is the same because there's TB germ, except that the other one is resistant. This one is sensitive to the common drugs that are available everywhere.
Dr. Raymond, the leprosy.
As we said at the beginning, leprosy is a disease that is similar to tuberculosis, and the germ that is seen in leprosy is similar to that one, the bacteria that is in tuberculosis. And leprosy is available everywhere. And we've said the signs and symptoms of leprosy are almost similar to those of TB. But what is very important to note for our colleague in Soroti is that when you feel you're seeing a discoloration, a change of color of your skin, or when you start feeling tingling and you starting feeling that your skin or your extremities, both the toes, the fingers, are now not sensing, please visit a clinician and emphasize the fact that if you have had someone in your family or your close contact that has had leprosy, you always have to make sure that you constantly check that you don't have leprosy. And one of the ways of diagnosing leprosy is by taking off the swab or the skin patch and examining it for the bacteria. And once found, then they can be able to treat you. We have the medicines available, and the patients tend to get cured.
Well, let me also have. Oh, you want to supplement? Okay.
Yes, on the diagnosis, even without the swab, taking off the skin piece that you talked about, the leprosy has those cardinal things that you see, that even without testing, you see that this is leprosy. And our people across the country have been supported to understand that, especially the supervisors at district level. They are like leprosy experts, and you can get that cardinal presentation, and they come and assess, and they confirm that this is actually leprosy, and we treat you, and those symptoms go away. When it relates other than the fingers going away, we also get ulcers. Get wounds which are not healing. Yes, yeah, they don't even heal. Yes.
Well, Doctor, we have another question for you, and that is, hello, good morning, Uganda. How long does it take to manifest? This is Chimuli in Chengera. Leprosy, because you talked about it takes a long time. So how long, he wants to know.
So the symptoms for leprosy, which I have said, is a discoloration on the skin, or you get nodules on the skin, swellings. May take 6 months to up to 5 years. But majority of the people present within 2 years of infection.
Well, 2 years is still some time.
Yeah.
It's still some time. Someone may think they don't have a disease. But the good thing is information is power, knowledge is power. And when the ministry encourages us and says treatment is available, but even before I go back to the conference, doctors, I have you here, you are assuring Ugandans, treatment is available, the medics are there. Is it easily available and accessible? One time I was at Mulago, that was some years back actually. I'd gone with someone, okay, that was the first time I saw Ugandan put on a mask. Used to seeing Chinese, Asians that visit, and I'm like, but these people always having these things. Are we filthy? Don't they feel safe with us? So I go with my dad at Mulago, and tells me, you're young, stay in the car. I see the man removing a mask. I'm like, has daddy become a dentist today? He's going to work on my teeth. Then he comes back and tells me I was from visiting some uncle. He's here, and Mulago has a TB, I think, a special
TB,
for TB. It's not in the public. So I said, okay, this is TB. But I saw a number of people coming out with masks and all that. So how available is this treatment? Because it could be easier said, and later people are like, but we don't have the resources. We don't have the experts in this field. Are we sure we've reached that level? At least that is fairly satisfactory to Ugandans.
Yes, the treatment for TB and leprosy are available free of charge. The diagnosis is also available free of charge. Let me start with the diagnosis. From the level of a health center 3 in every sub-county, there is a laboratory, and there are staff trained to work in that laboratory, and they are health workers. So once they say you are likely to have TB, they take off a sample, and this sample is usually sputum. The patient provides the sputum, the lab technician looks at it, and they look at it free of charge. Now, at that same point at the health center 3, we also have the treatment there. So from that level of health center 3 upwards, TB treatment and diagnosis is available to all that want to access it. But also we go an extra mile, that if in this sub-county the distance to come to this health facility is longer, we also enroll the health center tools to be treatment continuation facilities. So once you are initiated at the health center 3, your drugs can be taken to your nearest health center 2 level, and you always go there every month to access your drugs. So the treatment is available.
Okay, very interesting. Dr. Raymond, let me have your final shots as we come to the end of this show regarding the conference, but also the fight against leprosy and tuberculosis.
Okay, thank you very much, Curable, and thank you very much, viewers. As the Assistant Commissioner said, that one of the biggest reasons why we have this conference and why we are here this morning is we want to create awareness. So we want to make sure that Ugandans know about tuberculosis and leprosy and know where to get the services. And we're encouraging, we're appealing to every Ugandan, know your TB status. Know your TB status. Go to the nearest facility and ask for a TB, or get screened for tuberculosis. And if you have any signs and symptoms that show that you could be having tuberculosis, then ask to be diagnosed. And if you don't have TB and you are healthy, well and good. Number 2, we are encouraging every Ugandan that is available that can be online, please join us at the conference. There is a lot we are learning. There is a lot that we want to give you. There is a lot of accountability that we want to present to you. And we have a lot of stakeholders that we want to engage so that you can know more about tuberculosis and leprosy. And we're looking forward to seeing you there tomorrow, Thursday. The conference begins tomorrow, Thursday in the morning, and Friday. If you are not able to join us via virtual, please go on to UBC and you will be there live. We know UBC, our TV station, the big network, will be there to cast this whole activity of the conference. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Raymond Biaruhanga. That is the Senior Technical Advisor, Ministry of Health. Dr. Stevia, your final shot.
Yeah, thank you once again, our viewers, for participating in the show. We are calling upon you to take every opportunity to know about your TB status. We have now a vast number of health facilities that can help you to understand that. If you do not have TB disease, you can get an opportunity of getting TB prevention so that you don't advance to disease at any one time. So if you have lived with someone at home with TB, get out there and know your TB status. Or in your community there are TB patients, you never know the interactions you make with the patients. You could have gotten the disease. We are calling upon those that have TB to complete their treatment. Treatment is part of preventing disease and reducing the TB burden in this country. So take your treatment religiously and get supported by your people so that you do not die from the TB. TB is curable. We shouldn't see people dying from it. Get diagnosed early. We are calling upon our health workers, don't miss any opportunity interacting with a person at the health facility without asking about TB symptoms and finding out if they have any signs of TB. That way, we should be able to end the TB by 2030. Now, for leprosy, the disease is causing people a lot of pain, a lot of stigma. And some of the leprosy people are also being discriminated by their own people. Leprosy, like I've said, is also curable. Leprosy, like I've said, we can also prevent it. So if you have someone with leprosy or with TB, do not discriminate them. Do not stigmatize them. The diseases are curable. If they are on treatment, they are no longer a danger to you. They cannot transmit the disease to you. They were a danger before they were identified. Now that they are known, they are on treatment, and once you start treatment, the germs reduce. And they can also, because we teach them, they can also prevent the transmission. And one of the ways you can do this is to stay outside the house during the day, go to the garden. You don't stay in the house. Cover yourself, the nose and mouth when you cough, so that the germs don't go into the house and your loved ones where you are. Yes, when you have sputum, dispose it off correctly, cover it, so that the germs do not get off and get to other people. When we are dealing with TB patients, let's not discriminate them, let's not stigmatize them. And all of us nationwide, when we construct our buildings, our houses, let's ensure we have enough ventilation. Thank you.
Well, all said by the experts. I just want to thank you so much for having been part of this show. I want to thank you so much, Dr. Byaruhanga Raymond, that is a Senior Technical Advisor, Ministry of Health. Thank you so much for your time, and of course, those words of knowledge and wisdom on how best we can fight tuberculosis and leprosy. I want to thank that is Dr. Stefia Turia-Hobwe, who happens to be the Assistant Commissioner, Ministry of Health, National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Program, for your time. Thank you very, very much, because I know now the good news is this is treatable. It is curable once detected early, and the treatment is readily available and free. Charles Abagonza from Chiriandongo, thank you for watching. He said the problem is drugs of TB at times are not available, and this spoils the doses. Well, the concerned persons are here and they have had. Let's ensure at all times our health is a priority. Go get to know your status. TB status is what we are talking about. Go get to know if the results are positive, treatment is available. And no one is going to condemn you. Go ensure that you know your status and begin treatment as soon as possible. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Don't forget, COVID is still around. Perfect the standard operating procedures, but also go and get your jab in case you've not yet gotten any. God bless you. And if you've gotten the first one, go for the second one. See you tomorrow, same time, God willing.
Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend surfaces. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
Transact and win money after money with Airtel Money. 1.5 billion shillings in cash prizes up for grabs. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Raising voices.
As a community member, I think we need to change in the way we act in response to violence against children. In my small way, I can be a leader in preventing violence in my community. I promise to work with my neighbor to create violence-free homes and communities for our children.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
I love Uganda. I serve Uganda. I sacrifice for Uganda. I'm loyal to Uganda. I love myself.
Be patriotic. Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co-Uganda, Office of the President.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.